Mm. Hey, y'all. I'm not ready totally yet because I had to my daughter and I had to go to her school for a meeting, and I'm just getting back, but I still have like dinner to cook, but I figured we could hang out while I do all that, and then I can read. I'm gonna push that down a little bit so the light's not in your face. I'm making Hey Kathleen, I'm making sheet pan enchiladas tonight for dinner. So I had prepped everything before we had to go to the meeting, and I turned the oven on thinking that I would have enough time to like put it in the oven for 20 minutes before we had to go. I didn't have enough time. So I turned the oven off, put the food in the oven. So it did cook a little bit while we were gone, while the oven was technically off, but it was still warm from me preheating it before. So it did cook a little bit, but I still need to cook it the rest of the way and eat dinner, and then we can read. But the meeting was at 6 o'clock and we didn't get back until now. And we also went and got some crumble cookies, her and I. The crumble cookies for this week are really good. They had a few different flavors. So I ended up getting the lemon poppy one and the sugar cookie one with like strawberry icing on top. That one, I took bites of both of them. They're both really good. You've never had crumble? They're good. They're expensive cookies, but they're good. If you decide that you want to get crumble cookies, like because of the size that they are, the big cookies are like this big. I mean, they're huge, but you don't have to get the big ones. They have mini ones that are like about that big. So you could always like do one of the mini ones just to see if it's something that you would even like. Hey Jess, how are you? So yeah. I'll show you in just a second once I get all my electronics off of me and on chargers. I'll show you what I got going on. Okay. All right, so now the oven's on. Alexa, start a timer for 10 minutes.
Good evening, Vivian. 10 minutes, starting now.
Give me 1 second. Okay, let me bring you out into the living room so we can look at my dinner. It is so good. Look at the cookies. So I'll show you both. Let me move everything out of the way. I gotta do this in teams. Okay, that's dinner. I don't know if you can see. That's dinner. That's dinner. And then I'll show you the cookies. It smells pretty good, so I'm going to assume that it did cook a little bit while I was gone. I'm cooking dinner and getting ready to read after I eat dinner. And these are crumble cookies. These are the big ones. This one is an Oreo one, and then the sugar cookie with the strawberry, then macadamia nut, and then the lemon poppy, which the lemon poppy, I took a bite. That one's really good. It was so good while it was soft, because it was nice and hot and soft. And then, see, can you see how big that cookie is? That Oreo cookie? I mean, it's freaking huge. So they have mini sizes as well if you don't want a cookie that's that big. The minis are like that big, and they're like bite size. It's a great size if you're just trying them out and you don't know like which flavor you really like. The business is going really well. You would love those, Kathleen, if you like cookies. They're so sweet. So typically, whenever I get crumble cookies, it'll take me like 3 or 4 days to eat an entire cookie because they're so big, they're so sweet, that taking like 1 or 2 bites off of it every day is satisfying enough so that you don't continue feeling like you want to keep eating more and more of the cookie. I mean, obviously you can eat the whole thing if you fucking want to, but I usually do like a bite or 2 of each cookie that I get every day. Jason, don't be rude to people. Dinner should be ready in just a little bit. I'm excited to try this new recipe. I found it on TikTok, and it's called sheet pan enchiladas. Basically, it's corn tortillas cut up. It's corn tortillas cut up in like tortilla chip sizes. And then you add your taco meat, which I did taco meat with the taco seasoning and onions. I did green enchilada sauce because I don't really care for the red enchilada sauce. So I did the green enchilada sauce. And then I also added tomatoes and chilies and that kind of thing. Added cheese to it, mixed it all together, put it on the pan, put it in the oven. Actually, I added cheese to the top of it too. So I added cheese to the mixture and then I added cheese to the top. And that's it. That's literally all you do. So I will let you know how good it is, but I'm really excited to try it because honestly, if I had done the entire recipe from start to finish, it probably would have only taken me like 30 minutes to make everything. 10 minutes to make the taco seasoning, to cut up the tortilla chips and prep all of the stuff. and 20 minutes for it to go into the oven. Oh yeah, it's really good. I'm so excited to try it. I love, like, I could eat tacos literally every day, but obviously I have kids that don't want tacos every fucking day. So I will typically try to incorporate some sort of Mexican dish, at least 2, 3 times a month, at least. Like last week we did, what did I make? What was it? It was it was the meat and potatoes and the chili sauce, not chili like, you know, bean chili, chili like hot chili sauce. Um, and that was really good. I think I posted a picture of it online. Let me try to find it. Let's see. Mexican picadillo. That's what I made the last time. It was really good too. So this was meat, potatoes, cheese, and a bunch of, I am Mexican, and a bunch of like spices that go into kind of like your salsa, your hot salsa, and then you throw the hot salsa over top of the meat and the potatoes, and you let it simmer in the salsa. So the meat and the potatoes is getting up all that salsa juice, and it is so good. I'm good. How are you? And it tastes like, I don't know. I like to eat it with tortilla just because tortilla helps to, fill you up a little bit more so you don't have to eat so much. Okay. I got my tubes tied, so I can't have any more kids. No more kids for me. Nada. I am done. Been done. Ain't having kids with nobody else. I've had my tubes tied since 2010. 2010. Because no thank you. Kids are cute and all, but I like that my kids are about to be grown, and I'm good. I don't want no more babies. Thank you for stopping by and liking the live. No more babies. No more babies. Like I said, people think that like having kids is this some great experience. It's not. It's not a great experience. I love my kids, but being a mother is the hardest job in the fucking world. Like, it's not easy. And you do not think, when you think about becoming a mom, you don't think about the possibility that your kids could turn into drug addicts or turn into murderers or shoot up schools or grape somebody or be raped by somebody. Like, you don't think about those things that can happen. Alexa, off.
10-minute timer. Self-unclear these rooms.
Yeah, you don't think about what life is going to be like when they actually grow up. You only think about when they're babies and all the cute little fun birthday parties and the fun smiles and that shit. You don't think about the tragedies that could potentially happen to your child that are nowhere in your control, because you can't control other people and you can't even control your kid. Oof. All right, you guys, here's dinner. I'm gonna make me a little bit, so I can go ahead and try it. I think I'm gonna put it in a bowl because it looks like it might be messy. Okay, you guys, I hope it's good. Let me see. It's smoking hot. I love my kids. I love my kids. Have I loved every minute of being a parent? No. Was I emotionally ready to be a parent? No. Was I financially ready to be a parent? No. Was I mentally ready to be a parent? No. Was I psychologically ready to be a parent? No, I wasn't. I wasn't at all. And my children have suffered because of that. Have they suffered a lot? No, they haven't suffered a lot, but they have still suffered. And I just don't think that people need to be bringing kids into this world until they are ready, mature in the mind, financially mature, all the things. And I don't think that really happens until you're almost 40. And by that time, they say you're not even able to have kids by the time you're 40, but that's when you should be having them, not at 20 years old. Like, you still have a whole life to live. Right. You still have a whole life to live. I just don't see bringing kids into this world as beneficial for the child. It's not beneficial for the child anymore because everything is too fucking expensive. So you can't really have your kid in a nice school or in a nice pre-K because it's too expensive. I follow this one lady on TikTok and she was telling me that her childcare costs for 2 kids, because the other 2 are in school, is $30,000 a year. There's people that don't even make $30,000 a year. So imagine what they're having to do. It's not. What they think, Bajork, is they think that whatever is messed up in their mind, having a baby is going to somehow cure whatever their ailment is, whatever their mental, issue is. They think having a baby is going to fix it. And we all know that that's why Gypsy had a baby. We all know that the reason why she had a baby was because she thought that it was going to be this fix to her problem. I make good money too, but I still don't want a fucking kid. Okay, you guys, let's see how good my enchiladas are. Babies never fix a relationship. It almost always makes the relationship worse. Oh my God, this is so good. This is so good. Hey, Flynn. Hey, Jamie. Oh my God, you guys, this is fucking delicious. I'll have I'll have to make it again and record myself making it. This was so easy to make, and it is slamming. Being single has been the happiest time in my life. Jason, you live in Memphis, or that's where you're from? This is so good. I'm from Texas. Sheet pan enchiladas. If you haven't seen the recipe, Google it on TikTok. Not Google it on TikTok, but search it on TikTok. This shit is slamming. I'm not. Easy, fast, delicious, and only took, let's see, ground beef, corn tortilla, onion. I used green enchilada sauce and diced chilies and cheese. So 6 ingredients. That's it. I'm not dating anyone. Not anytime soon. I have so much work that I want to do on myself, and being in a relationship is just a distraction. You guys, the green enchilada sauce. Kathleen, I love you. You are so funny. Hey, Danny. Oh my gosh, Parker, thank you for the gift. That was so sweet. I'm going to have to get a little bit more. Sorry if I'm like eating in your face. Has everybody had dinner? Because if not, then I'm being super rude. Have y'all had your dinner yet? You guys, this shit is so good. This is so good. I'm going to have to make this recipe again in a couple of days so that I can record it. It's enchiladas. Made a little bit differently, like than the rolled enchiladas, because I don't really care for the rolled enchiladas. I made it a little bit different. Instead of rolling up the enchilada, I cut up the corn tortillas in like chip sizes and mixed everything together. So it kind of looks like soggy nachos in a way. But it's good. It's good. I cannot tell you how good it is. Like, I'm going to keep saying it's good because it is good. You know what? I am just going to say it. I am going to say it out loud. I'm from a little town called Ingleside, Texas. It's near Corpus Christi. So the other day, did you guys know that all the planets were in alignment the other day? And something happened. Something happened when all the planets were aligned, because my entire perspective on life and energy level just totally switched. Like, it's almost like I turned into a different person. Like, literally. I know that might sound weird, but I'm somebody else. Like, I'm not who I was before the planetary shift happened. Did y'all hear about the planetary shift? I've been waking up at 5:30. 5:30. I never get up at 5:30, but today I got up at 5:30 and I wasn't even tired. I've been so like for the last 2 years I have not been able to get enough sleep. Like I have been trying to sleep for as long as possible, and no matter how long I sleep for, it still never feels like I'm getting enough. And then something just switched. It just all switched. And now I'm like, I'm more energetic. I'm not as tired as I was, even though I'm not getting the same amount of, like, I'm getting less sleep. I'm more energetic and less tired. I don't know what happened, but I'm a new person. I am new. Mm. Okay, let me go get some more. I'll be right back. So see how it looks kind of like soggy nachos? This little batch had a lot of corn tortilla, which that's fine. I like corn tortilla. Growing up poor in Texas, what you did was you cut up corn tortilla, hot dog, and egg, mixed it all together in the pot, and that's what you ate for breakfast. That's what we ate for breakfast. Corn tortillas, eggs, and hot dogs, or sausage, or bacon, but it was always mixed with corn tortilla and egg. It was like, because adding the corn tortilla was going to somehow, add a little bit more to your food so you filled up. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Ann, I'm a groomer from North Carolina, so I know all about being poor and eating corn tortilla. Kathleen, I think you're right too. The therapy, getting everything out. But I feel like a different person. I feel like something happened and everything just changed. Everything just changed, like mentally. I no longer am afraid. What's gonna happen is gonna happen. Okay. I shouldn't have filled up another bowl because I'm full. I'm gonna put it back. I'm gonna take one more bite. I'm gonna take one more bite and then I'm gonna put it back. So good. So good. Soggy nachos. Okay. That bite had a lot of corn tortilla in it. So good. So good. I'm sorry if I'm making y'all hungry. Sometimes I like to eat standing up, which is weird, but I feel like it helps the food digest a little bit better. Like if you're standing, this is like the first real thing I've had to eat all day, other than peanuts and fruit. Okay, let me stop. I'm going to wash my dish really quick because I don't like leaving dirty dishes in the sink. How's everybody's day been? Can you hear me okay? I'm still here. I'm just behind the camera. Dinner was so good. Stupid ads. I'm sorry about that. Hey, Karen. Hey, Palmetto. Hey, Georgia. Hey, Donna. Hey, Amy. I'm going to get one little bite of my cookie and then we're going to go. Okay. This one's lemon poppy crumble cookie. So good. All right. That's all the sweets I need. My dog isn't here right now because the lady that does his daycare, she is trying to learn how to groom dogs, and she knows that my dog is really good. He's really cooperative and easy to groom. So she was like, "Can I borrow him to learn?" And I said, "Hell yeah," because he needed to get his hair done, but I will definitely allow anyone to groom him for free. Because he takes a while. He typically takes me like 3.5, 4 hours to groom. So it was nice it's been nice getting a little bit of a break. So that's where he's at right now, getting groomed. I told her she could take as much time with him as she needed, not to feel like she needed to rush, and to just do whatever she needed to do. I don't care if it's 10 o'clock and he still isn't home. Like, take as long as she needs. I think it'll be before 10, but either way. Let me remind her to follow his pattern. Okay. I'm kind of hot. Today, outside, it ended up getting kind of hot. Like, you know how when you wear a jacket and you are driving in the car, you've got your jacket on and the sun's like beating in through the front windshield and it just makes you hot. Yeah, that's what was going on today. All right, so we are on chapter 12, Becoming the Woman I Truly Am, Deserving Daughters. I forgot to do the homework from last night. The homework was to make the list of the the things that you had heard growing up and then why that wasn't true. I did not do that yet. That's okay though. I will get to it. All right. It's not easy to find happiness in ourselves, and it is not possible to find it elsewhere. This is something that I really wish that somebody had said to me, I wish that somebody had told me, you cannot find true happiness until you know true happiness and love within yourself. Would I have believed them? Probably not, but I still feel like it would have been nice to hear. After years of having been coerced into being what your mother wanted you to be, now remember, just because this book is talking about the mother and daughter relationship does not mean that you cannot apply these principles to any relationship, whether it be a boyfriend, a husband, a friendship, a coworker, whatever. You can apply them to anything. So when we're talking about being what your mother wanted you to be, you can switch the word mother out with what your husband wanted you to be, what your boss wanted you to be, what your friend wanted you to be. Just switch that out so that you can pretty much relate this to anybody who is holding on to some of those narcissistic characteristic traits. Whether it was how you looked or acted or what you believed in and valued, it is time now to focus on what you want for yourself. No more succumbing to mother's attempt to mold you into her image. No more putting your internal growth on hold in order to please mom. No more superficial smiles on pretty little faces. In order to do the fun work I encouraged in this chapter, I want you to address two serious issues: how to erect and strengthen your internal mother, and how to understand and manage the collapse. Below, we will take each concept and turn and discuss the strategies you need to recover. The internal mother. The internal mother is best understood as your own maternal instinct. It is the intuitive voice that speaks to you and wants to nurture, love, and mother you. While in the past you had to give up on the notion that your external mother could give you what you needed, you can now have an internal mother readily available to you. And this is why so many times when you're talking to a therapist, um, letting them know that even though you didn't have a parent, you can still be that parent to yourself that you didn't have. You can parent yourself in the way that you would have wanted to receive from the parent that you did not get from that parent. Even though they didn't give it to you, doesn't mean that you don't deserve it and can't have it. You can give it to yourself. Many daughters are, hold on. I think I skipped a sentence. Hold on. She makes it possible to parent yourself. Many daughters are sad and angry when first confronted with the concept of parenting themselves. But when they realize and accept these feelings, they get through them to a sense of inner strength and empowerment. To grow the internal mother, you must first give her permission to be there. You allow her kind maternal voice to resonate within you. You allow yourself to hear it. To begin, find a quiet, lovely, healing place where you will have solitude. This may be the bathtub, your deck, office, or on a walk, whatever works for you. Try to create an atmosphere where you will not be interrupted. After you've done this several times, you will be able to do this anywhere and even go through interruptions. Garrett, I'm reading a book. But start with having complete quiet and focusing on yourself. Have your journal, writing pad, and pencil with you. Your first task is making the I call the I am list. To do this, it is important to allow your internal mother to share and review your many incredible strengths and characteristics. Write them down in a manner similar to these examples. I am strong. I am intelligent. I am wise. I am loving. I am helpful. I am empathetic. I am industrious. I am energetic. I am productive. I am sensitive. I am honest. I am a person with integrity. I am talented. I am caring. I am responsible. I am spiritual. I am beautiful inside and out. I am healthy. Your next task is to push away negative messages like, I don't have any good traits, because you know in your heart that you do. If you give her permission, your internal mother will help validate and verify the positive you sitting right there. If the negative thoughts persist, it is a red flag that you have additional grieving and trauma to process, and you must go back to the first steps. As discussed earlier, reaffirming messages do not stick unless you have done the proper grieving. Remember when we started reading this book that I was telling you that sometimes you have to have a funeral. You have to grieve this person that you wanted that you never got. You have to have a funeral for the idea, the perception of the person that you wanted that never occurred. It never happened. So you have to grieve the loss, the sadness, the anger, the frustration, the self pity, all the things in order to get over this, I guess, this frustration that you wanted this parent in your life that you didn't have and you'll never get, because that person that you want is never going to be able to give you what you need. I'm sorry. I need to figure out where I am again. Mm-mm-mm. Your I am list is the starting point with your internal mother. Practice being with her. Talk to her often and let her console you. I often tell clients to treat themselves at this point as they would treat a 2-year-old child. Be gentle, kind, understanding, and sweet because you deserve this. When you don't know what to do, ask yourself how your own maternal self would treat a child with the same emotion or struggle, and then do that. So treat yourself as if you were that 2-year-old child having the tantrum, having the sadness, having the fear, having the anxiety. When I think of 2-year-olds, I think about scooping them up and giving them lots of love and attention. And I bet your maternal instinct is similar. I know mine is. Garrett says, does the author know that men don't want strong, independent women? I can't remember when this book was written, but I'm pretty sure that she can make an update. This isn't really about men. This is more about women healing their own self. So don't make this conversation about what men want, because we really on this page don't give a fuck what you want. Okay. As you practice conferring with your internal mother, she will begin to grow and strengthen. You will feel a committee forming of me, myself, and I. The internal mother heads this association. I have found that the times to practice and strengthen the internal mother are in those situations where you want to reach out for help and advice from someone else because you don't know what to do. This is the time to go internally and find intuitive answers and consolidation from the maternal committee. The more that you confer with them, the stronger and more self-assured you become. This mother will never abandon you. You will particularly need the internal mother when you experience what is called the collapse. Saving you time from what? You can definitely get the fuck off my live, because again, nobody in this area gives a shit what you, Garrett, want. Yes, I can. The collapse. In true narcissism, the narcissist often experiences something called a narcissistic injury. This is something that you will hear a lot whenever you are healing from a narcissist, because a narcissistic injury, we're going to cover it right now. So if you don't know what it is, I'm going to tell you. According to the DSM 5, vulnerability and self esteem makes individuals with narcissistic personality disorder very sensitive to injury from criticism or defeat. Although they may not show it outwardly, criticism may haunt these individuals and may leave them feeling humiliated, degraded, hollow, or empty. They may react with disdain, rage, or defiant counterattack. The narcissistic individuals I have known who have had this type of injury reaction take a long time to get over it. They hold grudges, want to get back at the person they perceived harmed them. They seek revenge, try to cause problems for their attacker, and seem never to forget or forgive. Most daughters of narcissistic mothers with whom I have worked experience a similar condition, although to a much lesser degree, which is called the collapse. They feel as if they just popped their self esteem balloon and all the air rushed out, and they need a bit of time to restabilize and refill the balloon. It is different from the narcissist injury because it doesn't last long and the daughter is able to forgive and forget, and she is not haunted or humiliated for long periods of time. She is also typically not out to get revenge, do paybacks, or seek harm. But narcissists are always out for revenge. They are always out to seek harm. They are always out to destroy anyone who gives them a narcissistic injury. And the narcissistic injury can be, something small, like saying, I really would prefer if you fold the laundry this way, or something bigger like, I don't understand how come you're not financially responsible. Those things are going to affect a person who is narcissistic different ways, but they're going to hold a grudge for you for holding them accountable. We've seen this with Gypsy as it relates to her. It doesn't last long, and the daughter is able to forgive and forget, and she is not haunted or humiliated for long periods of time. She is also typically not out to get revenge, do paybacks, or to seek harm. The daughter's collapse is due to her internal sensitivity caused by being insulted or invalidated as a child, adolescent, and adult by her narcissistic mother. When it happens during recovery, it's as if it triggers a momentary regression back to childhood. Old memories make the current situation feel much bigger than it really is. This domino effect leads to the feeling of internal collapse, which is also described as a result of post-traumatic stress disorder, commonly referred to as PTSD. The DSM explains this further. The traumatic event is persistently re-experienced in one or more of the following ways: intense psychological distress at exposure to internal or external cues that symbolize or resemble an aspect of the traumatic event. And this is not psychological. I think it's sociological. I think that's what it is. Sociological reactivity on exposure to internal or external cues that symbolize or resemble an aspect of the traumatic event. This means that the daughter will feel the collapse when something reminds her of her early childhood wounds. At this moment, a daughter is most tempted to reach out for external validation and ask someone else to make it better for her, and she may act needy. You can manage this differently without acting needy by going to your internal mother for support and comfort. Without naming it, the daughter frequently describes the collapse, as Felicity told me. I was recently sitting with a guest at my house who announced to me that she was having one of his employees stop by my house to pick up a work check. I thought this was a bit strange, but certainly okay with me. The employee did stop by, and I welcomed her into my home and offered her a beverage while chatting briefly. We had never met before. When she left, after only about 10 minutes, I walked her to the door and expressed that it was so nice to meet her. She responded with, "Nice to meet you too, even though you have issues." I was floored by this inappropriate comment from someone who didn't even know me. I knew instinctively that it was about something that was going on with her, but it still felt like a punch in the stomach. And that feeling lasted for a whole damn day. Why, Dr. McBride, would I allow this stranger's inappropriate comment to bother me so much? As in the past with her mother, Felicity was reminded of years she had tried to be so good and pleasing, to do things right and be kind and polite, and then got zapped in the end as never being good enough. This domino effect or collapse took Felicity back to historical wounds, but she handled it by talking to me, her therapist, and a friend. She reached out for external validation in this case, but eventually learned to manage other situations like this on her own, which was her recovery. Now that you are aware of what the collapse is, you will be better prepared to deal with it when it happens to you. Notice your reactions in the next week. Keep track of how many times a collapse actually happens to you. Your increasing self awareness will give you increasing strength. You are in charge of you. Crystal describes another example of a collapse moment. I stopped by my friend's house to see if she could babysit for a couple of hours while I ran some errands. We do this for each other often, and we are both fine with it. On this particular day, however, my friend Beth asked me how long I would be gone because she had laundry to do. That was it. She just set a boundary and asked a simple question, but I immediately interpreted it as her, sorry, intimidating, that I was a burden on her and she did not want to help me. So that's where we sometimes self project what other people are thinking onto ourselves, even though we know that it's not really true. In Crystal's case, the friend had good boundaries, but what she asked, although not inappropriate, triggered in Crystal's feelings of being a burden on her mother, and she had a strong reaction that lasted for several days. The collapse can cause another problem, as described by Joni 36. We were at a family barbecue and I was sparring with my brother. We do this a lot, but on this day, he actually told me I had gained too much weight and that my butt looked big. He always teases me about trying to look like J-Lo-ish, his term for a great looking butt and body. But today he said just big, and I was hurt. I went to my sister and complained to her, and she said, "Why would you let him bother you? He's just being a brat. And who cares about what he says about your butt? Get over it." Then I was not only hurt by my brother, but mad at my sister for not supporting me and giving me the sympathy that I needed. The thing that bothers me most, though, is that I thought about it for a week and it reminded me so much of the constant criticism and insults from my mom about my weight while growing up. Joni's experience with her week-long collapse is interesting. First, she was hurt and then angry at not being rescued from her pain. She could have worked on this and shortened her distress if she had strengthened and called on her internal mother, who could have comforted her immediately. Instead, she did not get the validation for her feelings that she needed until she came to therapy a week later. Again, getting support is a good thing, and we all need it on occasion. But you can save a week of feeling bad by building up your self reliance, your internal mother. Hey, patience, the sensitive one. Daughters were often called the sensitive one in the family. They tire of people telling them that they are overreacting to things said or done by other people. Daughters of narcissistic mothers have to work on freeing themselves of this tie to their past. You will feel more normal and less crazy when you understand that any temporary collapse is a normal reaction to a trigger from your history. When you can identify and understand it, you can also work to relieve it and prevent it from reoccurring. Otherwise, you may tend to beat up on yourself for letting things bother you and buying into the old "you're the sensitive one" script. I'm sorry, Deidre 35 tells me feelings were generally not allowed in our families. So whenever I had some feelings going on and tried to express it, I was told that I was being too sensitive. That usually shut me down, but I didn't know what to do with those feelings that were left inside of me. Melody 42 said, I'm so sick of people telling me I'm oversensitive. My mother said that to me anytime I showed even a little feeling growing up. I know it because she couldn't deal with my feelings and so she wouldn't allow them. Now, when my husband or children say that to me, I just want to bop them. I want to be real and have whatever feelings I have and quit worrying about it. I've always been told that I'm overreacting, being too sensitive, making a big deal out of something that isn't a big deal, this, that, or the other. But it doesn't matter if it's not a big deal to the other person. If it's a big deal to you, then it matters to you, and they should respect that it matters to you and it hurt you, and listen to what it is that, was bothering you. Because something that is not a big deal to somebody else, just because it's not a big deal to them, doesn't mean that it can't be a big deal to you, and that it shouldn't be a big deal to you. Everybody's perspective is different, and whatever your feelings are, they are valid to you. Hey, Ariel, thank you for the gift. They're valid to you, and you deserve to have your feelings validated. Even if they said, I understand that you're upset right now. I apologize for making you upset, whatever. But to push it to the side, to just tell you to get over it as if it's no big deal, well, it is a big deal. Because if they want you to care about their feelings, then why can't they care about yours? Right? Now that you understand why you need to strengthen the internal mother and recognize you're being at risk for periodic emotional collapses, you are ready to start reinventing yourself. After the painful work of the prior chapters, and I can admit the prior chapters were really tough for me, and getting through them was a process, which is why I didn't rush through them and needed a lot of breaks. But now getting to this part, I feel so very light and free. So definitely, if you have not already watched the first, I don't know how many videos we've done on this. I can't remember. They're all in the Mother Daughter Narcissistic playlist, but go back and start from the beginning so that you can really start to heal yourself. After the painful work of prior chapters, the rest of this chapter should be fun and entertaining. For the exercises that follow, you need only your own approval and that of your internal mother, who is always on your side, no matter what. That's the best thing about your own internal mother, because you're always going to give yourself what you need. Well, you should anyway. So let's get started so that you can discover your passions, preferences, which you may have kept under wraps before now when it was all about mom. You will be asking yourself questions such as, what do I value most? What makes me happy? What gives me the deepest sense of fulfillment? What are my passions and talents? Who am I really? Because daughters of narcissistic mothers have been forced into supporting roles demanded by their mothers and the narcissistic family system, it is not uncommon for them to say they don't really know who they are or what they like. They have become accustomed to doing for others and not focusing on themselves in healthy ways. As May tells me, the message I got from mom is that she will love me if I do what she thinks I should do. So I try to be me, but I don't know who I am. To begin the discovery process, it is important to know the basics of what you like and what you believe in. To do this, I'm going to suggest 2 exercises to get you started. The Real Woman Collage. Although not new or innovative, this exercise is helpful for women beginning to think about themselves in a different way. To do this exercise, get a poster board or piece of construction paper and several women's magazines. Start thumbing through the magazines to find pictures of women who represent womanhood to you. Pay attention to what you choose. Are these images representing what you really desire or what your mother or someone else thinks that you should be? Cut out only those images or pictures that represent what you believe are symbols of positive adult womanhood to you, representations of who you are and who you want to become when you allow yourself to show forth. When you have found images that fit you, make a collage of them on a paper. Keep this collage as a reminder of where you are going with your recreation of finding yourself. I'll start on this weekend whenever we're done with the entire book. I'll go back to this chapter and start on it so that you guys can get an idea of what mine looks like. You don't have to share yours. You don't even have to do this if you don't want to. But if you really want to truly heal and figure out who you are, not who everyone else has wanted you to be in the past, but who you are, what you like, what you don't like, those kinds of things. You can at least have something to look at that's an example of, how to get started or whatever. So I'll do mine and I'll post it online, and then you can use that as your inspiration for when you're ready to do your own. What are my values? This exercise assists you in reminding yourself what you believe in and determining what you like. You will make a list of beliefs on your desires and preferences. I will give you my starting list, and you can add to it as you think of beliefs on which you want to focus. The categories will be a combination of simple, seemingly unimportant things and huge, significant life philosophies. For each category, it is your job to write what is your style, preference, or belief. Education, your beliefs and philosophy about education for yourself and for your family. Politics, your political beliefs, not anyone else's, yours, what you believe. Religion, parenting belief systems. How do you want to raise your children, and what are your priorities as a mother? Love relationships. What are the most important? I might have to screenshot this because there's a lot. Yeah, I might have to screenshot this and share it to my community page so that we can all go back and look at it to do this exercise on our own. But I'll read through all of them right now. Love relationships. What are the most important things to you in a love relationship? Men. Who is the ideal man for you? What are his characteristics? Friends. What kind of friends are you attracted to? Movies. What kind of movies do you like the best? What kind of books are your favorite? What is your favorite style of jewelry? What is your style of clothing? If you could buy whatever car you wanted, which two would you choose? What kind of architecture do you like? What are your favorite kinds of furniture? Your favorite gemstones? Your favorite weather? Your favorite landscape? Which of the seasons is your favorite and why? What kind of music do you like for pure listening and pleasure? What is your favorite dance music? What leisure time activity do you like the most? What activity do you love that brings you sheer joy? Your favorite kind of exercise? What do you like to watch on television? Your favorite food to cook and eat? When you dine out, where do you most like to go? What is your favorite shopping place? Your ideal vacation? If you play sports, which do you enjoy the most? If you watch sports, what is your favorite? What is your favorite color for wearing and decorating? What is your favorite fabric for wearing and decorating? What is your favorite flower? Your kind of conversation about what and with whom? What age group do you most like to hang out with? Add more as you go. The purpose here is to be writing and thinking about yourself through your thoughts, desires, preferences, beliefs, and values. We rarely take the time to stop and ask ourselves these kinds of questions, and you will be surprised at how much self you already have and how much you really do know about you. The next exercise can be very helpful if you spend time on it and think carefully about it. At the top of a page in your journal, you write the heading, If I Were Good Enough. Then write about the things you would do if you felt good enough right now. Like, if I were good enough, I would. Keep at this until you have written at least 10 things. I'm always surprised when I do this myself, as I find it can change from year to year. It is also a useful way to demonstrate that you have vanquished the old negative internal messages and that they are no longer controlling your choices any longer. After doing this exercise, read it to someone who loves you and get his or her reaction. Allow your internal mother to digest it as well. Then start doing the things on the list. Finding your interest in memory exercise. It worries me when I ask women what they are interested in and they say they don't know. If this is the case for you, I want you to take some quiet time to think about what you liked to do as a small child. This is what really helped me going back to my 8, 9 year old self before all the abuse, all the suffering, all the instability, all the group homes, all the foster homes, all of that. I had to go back to that 8 year old little girl and think, what did I like as an 8 year old? And start there again. Because sometimes we're we're so damaged and hurt that we forget what we liked the most about ourselves because the trauma, the abuse, the suffering, all of that has changed us along the way. So, what kind of things did you play with? Sometimes you can take a childhood activity and transfer it to an adult activity that fits your current interests beautifully. For example, when I did this, I remembered that before I turned 7, we lived in the country and rode Shetland ponies. I love the horses and the countryside, but they also remind me of country dancing and country music, and I threw myself into those activities again. They are two of my favorite pastimes now. I also used to love to play paper dolls, which translates into the love of clothes and fashion today. Try this remembering exercise and see what you come up with. Perhaps you are aware of what interests you have, but do not allow yourself the time to explore them or experience fun. To get in touch with the real you, you have to involve the child side of you to laugh and have a really good time. Don't deny this core part of you any longer. Find what it is for you. Allow yourself both leisure time, enjoyment, and what I call kick up your heels kind of fun. An example of these two different activities for me would be attending a spectacular musical, which I would find very enjoyable, versus dancing with a great dancer to my favorite music, which would be the kick up your heels kind of fun. You may love rock climbing for 3 days in the wilderness, but your girlfriend may prefer a Ritz-Carlton kind of vacation. Find out what constitutes pleasure and enjoyment and what is out of control, belly laughing fun for you. When you do figure out your specific interests, then it is time to set up your schedule to include them in your life. You may suddenly be taking piano lessons or dance lessons or ski lessons. A client of mine recently started belly dancing and loves it. It's great exercise and she laughs and has so much fun. Her husband even likes it too when she has to practice at home. You may find that you want to explore some new things but have no one to do it with. If this is the case, it is important to make yourself do them alone. Going to the movies, dancing, hiking, walking, whatever it is, do it alone. The time you spend with yourself is very important in improving your self understanding and self reliance. Time alone may seem like a luxury, but I assure you that this time spent on your own interests is very important to your recovery. Your age should never be a factor. I am working with several women in their 50s, 60s, and 70s who are just now getting to do things that they always wanted to do and are finding great joy. Keep a list of the true interests you discover in your recovery journal. It helps to refer back to them and take encouragement from this aspect of your recovery whenever you find that you also have to do some painful processing. Recovery can have a fun side. In fact, it has to. So be sure to include this part. Being nice to yourself is a gift that you and your internal mother can provide regularly and reliably, as no one else can. Give permission. Don't allow yourself to get caught up in believing that taking care of yourself and enjoying yourself is selfish. On the contrary, it is a vital, necessary part of your recovery. Actually, let's talk about selfish. Many daughters in recovery have been taught by their narcissistic mothers and our patriarchal culture that focusing on their own needs is selfish. Women are the primary caretakers of others and are asked to be in giving mode at all times. And daughters of narcissistic mothers have also been treated as if they were not worthy of loving care. Give me a second. I need to wet my whistle. But remember, you can't give what you don't have. People who are fulfilled have an overflow of love and energy and therefore can give freely of themselves to others without becoming exhausted. Their own tanks are full and charged, and they have energy to spare. If your spirit and energy are chronically depleted, if you are unhappy and unfulfilled, you will find it difficult to care for others. Thomas J. Leonard, personal coach and founder of Coach University, said it best. Creativity and excellence require selfishness. So that's a hard word to say really fast. Selfishness. So does evolution. When you know you're onto something, a potential breakthrough of any kind, you need the purest kind of focus and concentration possible. You need to answer the callings of your heart and mind before you answer to the callings of the tribe. You need to accept that a reasonable and responsible level of selfishness builds long-term benefits for everyone you care about. Physical health. Although I am not a medical doctor, this chapter would not be complete without mentioning the importance of your physical health because some daughters are at high risk for sabotaging themselves and engaging in self destructive behaviors. I want you to accept fully that taking good care of your health is mandatory. Sound mental health and recovery is not possible without your physical well being. I will list only general health areas to make sure that you include these in your recovery plan. If you are not attending to one or more entries in the list below, ask yourself why and figure out the barriers so that you can overcome it. If you are having difficulty with something like addiction, find an additional recovery program to enter so that you are getting the help that you need. I compiled the following list after consulting with family practice physician James Gregory, MD. Have a complete physical examination that includes a thorough history and set up an individual health plan with general testing related to your age requirements. Some examples are colonoscopy after the age 50 and bone density tests after age 60. Eat a balanced, nutritious diet. Drink plenty of water, which is 48 ounces of water daily. Exercise regularly for at least 30 minutes, 3 times a week or more, including resistance training, weightlifting, in order to preserve bone density, as well as aerobic exercise for general health. Get regular dental exams and cleanings twice a year. Get adequate sleep at night. The amount of sleep varies with individual needs, but most physicians now recommend 7 to 8 hours a night. If you are tired, it means that you might need more. If you have good energy throughout the day, you are probably getting enough. Address problems of excessive consumption, eating too much, smoking, taking drugs, drinking to excess are, of course, detrimental to long term health. Talent search. The next area to assess is your talent. We are all born with some innate talent. It is your job to figure out what that talent is and pursue it if you desire. I have talked with many daughters of narcissistic mothers who are wildly talented in some area but have never pursued their talent because they don't believe in themselves enough. Some daughters are very aware of their talents because their mothers pushed them like showbiz moms, but are now burned out and not using what they can do. Others were never encouraged. If you have a special gift and want to use it, pursue it and try it again. Do so. Work on grieving and healing any memories connected with your mother that are preventing you from following your talent, reconnecting with it, picking it up again. Life is short and you were given certain aptitudes for a reason. You don't have to be a superstar. Whatever you do will be good enough. This exercise is not meant for anyone else. This is for you. One daughter I have worked with, a talented artist, did not want to paint and sell her own gallery, but she did want to use her talent. So she ended up volunteering in art classes at her neighborhood school and loved it. Another daughter had a beautiful singing voice and started singing in the church choir. You can be very creative with how you use your talents. Allow the full you to be in operation now. Indulge your passions. Not everyone has a passion, but if you do, don't let this world go by without at least trying your hand at whatever brings you deep excitement and purpose. You must explore the things that stir your soul. You do not have to be the best at anything. You can strive to be the best if you choose, but it is your choice now. You are good enough to try whatever you want. You are driving the bus of your journey of life. My passion is to dance. I have dabbled in it for years and dance whenever I can. When I finish writing this book, I plan to explore every avenue of dance that I can. This passion will take me into retirement doing something I dearly love. That's what I hope for you too. I remember when I was a little girl, I loved to dance. I loved to dance. And my mom would never pay for me to go to dancing classes. So eventually I stopped really caring about it, but I loved dancing. That was one of my favorite things to do. And then as you get older, it's kind of like weird to dance in front of people, especially when you haven't done it for so long. So I kind of got a little intimidated about dancing, even though it was, well, I mean, when I was a little kid, it was the thing that brought me the most joy. So I think that I'm going to probably start that up again, and not feel weird about it, because for a while I have felt weird about like dancing in front of other people because I don't want them to make fun of me or look at me like I'm stupid. But it is something that I've always enjoyed doing. Sit with your journal now and write about anything that brings you life and excitement. What is your deep personal interest and desire? Make yourself get in touch with your passion, even if you feel like you don't have one. Your passion can be something with social significance, something that helps others, or it can be something that is just for you, something you like to collect, read, cook, or track: sewing, scrapbooking, quilting, climbing, hiking, whatever. Hopefully, by doing the exercises offered in this chapter, you are further along in answering the important questions we started with. What do I value most? What makes me happy? What gives me the deepest sense of fulfillment? What are my passions and talents? You have learned to strengthen your internal mother in order to build your self confidence and to become more self reliant. You now know how to deal with the collapse and get beyond those setbacks. I hope you are feeling more positive about yourself and can relate to Amy, who says, "My experience and my character are my gifts. I am a quirky chick now, but a very positive person. My life is my choice, and I accept responsibility for my actions." My client Bonnie says, "I used to not be able to love myself. There was a dichotomy between what I knew and what I felt. I can feel that love for myself now, and I am a free woman. Finally." You too gain the skills you need to build new inner strength. Now we move into the process of managing your relationship with your actual mother in a healthy new manner. That's chapter 13, which is called My Turn, dealing with mother during recovery. And we will work on that one tomorrow. He was being a dick, right, Violet? Like, get out of here. I don't want you here. I'm gonna take screenshots of the list where she was talking about like what are my values, and I'm going to post them to my community page so you can refer back to them to kind of figure out like what things are important to you. Because if you've never taken the time to really sit down and think about what do I value the most, what makes me happy, what gives me fulfillment, what are my passions and talents, sometimes we've never taken the time to really get to know who we are as a person. um it's like we know a little bit here and there, but I think if you work on this from start to finish and really list everything out, I think you can really get to know who you are in a real way, and it'll make a difference for you like later on. That's the hope anyways. How are you guys feeling now after reading that chapter? Art is so much fun. Like you guys saw that I started coloring in my coloring books. That was something that I really enjoyed doing. I appreciate you too, Violet. I appreciate you being here. So dancing was something that I really enjoyed doing when I was little. I enjoyed coloring books. I enjoyed listening to music and like learning the words to songs. I enjoyed bike riding. I enjoyed being at the pool and just like laying out at the pool. I enjoyed volleyball. Let's see, I enjoyed playing my flute. I used to play the flute and I loved playing the flute. I actually loved playing all the instruments. I learned how to play the flute, but after I learned how to play the flute, I also learned how to play the trumpet, the clarinet, and the what else? The piccolo. So those were all really fun for me. So those are a few things that I really enjoyed whenever I was younger. So those are all things that I can certainly figure out how to pick back up to figure out, not really figure out, but to allow my little girl to be a little girl. You know what I mean? Like to just get back to the little Vivian that never got to be me. And I think that that's a really fun exercise to do. So if you guys like have any things that you know that you really enjoyed whenever you were little but somehow got out of doing those things, definitely give them a go again and see like how you feel about it. I loved reading. Oh my gosh, whenever I was little, I read all the time. They had these book clubs, right? And every summer you would get books that you could read, and if you had read a certain amount of books you were on like level green and level orange or whatever, and I like made it my mission to be on the highest level by the time I went back to school. Like I wanted to be the kid who read all the books over the summer, and I did that, and that was fun for me. So I have gotten back into reading books again. Like I said this last time, but last year I read like 50 books. This year so far I've already read two. Actually, this is hold on. We started with Gypsy's book, but then I started reading a book about borderline personality disorder. This narcissistic book that we're reading right now. Oh my gosh. I think I've read 4 books already this year. Let me just take a look. Oops. Oh, recovering from the emotionally immature parent. So yeah, I've read 4 books already this far. Say that, help me understand what you mean by that, Cactus Man Dan. Lay on your stomach, it helps heal the little side. I don't know what that means. I have another book called You're Not Crazy, It's Your Mother, and we can also do that one, but I really want to get I have a lot of books that I need to read. Mother Hunger, How to Talk to Anyone, It Ends with Us. Like I have several books that I need to start. The Courage to Be Disliked, Super Communicators, Anti-Fragile. I read A New Earth. I finished that already. The Gift of Fear, The Handmaid's Tale. So I have like a ton of books. And that is something that I really enjoy doing whenever I'm grooming dogs, because I can get lost in grooming the dog and reading the book. And what I've learned is that whenever you are doing something that you really enjoy doing, your brain goes into like alpha meditative state waves. So when you are reading books while you're in that alpha meditative state, your subconscious is listening to all of those words and your mind is being reprogrammed. So that's why I really love to read while I'm working, because it helps to reprogram my subconscious mind while I'm working and learning. So I'm doing like 3 things at once, subconsciously, not even really trying. But anyway, I need to go ahead and get in the shower and wash all this dirty dog water and sweat off of me and figure out when I am going to be able to go and pick up my dog. She's probably still working on him because she hasn't responded. I don't want her to feel like she needs to rush. I told her take her time. Like I don't care how late it is. she really wanted to practice with him. And my dog is such a good dog that I felt like this was the perfect opportunity for her to learn. See you tomorrow. Love you guys so much. Thank you so much for hanging out. Good night.